Hello and welcome to the JAR Region Program Overview. Today we are going to walk you through the volunteer packet and key teaching tips for each session in this program. JAUSA offers session-by-session videos that can be accessed at learn.ja.org or via a QR code at the beginning of each lesson in your volunteer guidebook. When you go to pick up your materials, you should get a clear bag with everything inside. You will have your volunteer guidebook, which has all of your talking points in there and explains all the activities. You should have your South Dakota teaching tips. This is broken out in general teaching tips and then session by session, so it kind of goes more in depth of what I'm talking about today. Then you will have blank half sheets of paper. These are your table tents. So you will give one to each student, have them folded in half, and then write their name on it so you can call them by their name when you're in class. And then you will get a big packet of materials. This is everything you're going to need for all the sessions, and they're broken out session by session. It's session 1, then a colored piece of paper, session 2, then a colored piece of paper. In the very back, you will get pipe cleaners, which are used for session 3, which I will talk about in a little bit. On top of the physical materials you will receive, you should log on to the on-screen presentation. This is a really good digital presentation that will kind of help you navigate through the lesson. You can log on to this by going to learn.ja.org, typing in the email JA has on file for you, and then entering your unique password. JA does not have your password on file, so if you can't remember it, you will have to create a new one. Once you're in the presentation, you'll see it'll pop up with all of the lessons. You can just click on the lesson you are going to teach, and then you're always going to go to the on-screen presentation. All these other things have been provided for you. So once you go to the on-screen presentation, make sure you make it full screen by getting out of this. You can access it again if you were to need it. And then navigating the platform is super easy. You're just going to use this next button at the bottom of your screen. Every lesson does come with a Jade and Jack adventure, so make sure those are in your materials, so make sure you hand those out. Our vocab words are interactive, so you can invite students up to the board to have them click on things or move things around. Anytime you can get the students up and active, the more engaged they're going to be. Again, this presentation works hand in hand with your volunteer guidebook. So make sure before you go into the classroom, you've looked at both the on-screen presentation and the physical materials you received. So let's get into this lesson. What is this program about? Session 1 is all about students getting to explore careers. So you will have the teacher break them into groups, 4 groups, and then they will get to explore careers and kind of see which ones interest them. Now, I will warn you that one, sticky notes are not provided for this lesson. So instead, please have students circle or draw on their map where they would like to live and work one day. And 2, there are 2 different ways to play this activity. So please make sure you are looking at those session by session teaching tips provided in your physical materials to decide which way works best for you, and then you can appropriately explain it to the students. Lesson 2 will look very familiar to anyone who has taught JA in the past. This is where students are broken up into groups and they get a region of the country and they get to see what resources thrive in that area of the country. And then they get to use their creativity and work together as a team to create a business that would thrive in their area. The one thing I do want to note about this lesson is the volunteer guidebook does say to break them into 8 groups, but please make sure you're breaking the students into 6 groups since there are only 6 region cards. Lesson 3 really lets students get the chance to use their imagination and their STEM skills. In this lesson, students get to explore the problem, how do we get resources across a river? So they get to work together in groups and explore different ways they could cross a river. They could build a bridge, they could build an airplane, or maybe a boat to cross the river. How are they going to get resources across? That is when the pipe cleaners come in handy. So your volunteer guidebook will talk about some other materials, but JA of South Dakota has provided pipe cleaners instead of those materials. So please make sure that you give each group 8 pipe cleaners, and you can separate these before you go into the classroom. Make sure at the end of the lesson you are giving students time to show off their creation and how they are going to cross a river. The river placemat has not been provided, but there is extra paper in your materials that you can use so students can showcase how they are going to get their resources across the river. Session 4 is all about party planning. So they get to think about sustainability and budgeting, and they get to work together to plan a party with only a budget of $50, making decisions like decorations, games, what napkins and paper plates are they going to use. On top of this, they also have to earn sustainability points along the way. So make sure you're walking around and helping out groups and then giving them time at the end to really showcase their party and what they decided on. The one thing with this program is there are party cards for each group, and they do need to be cut apart before you go into the classroom. So please make sure you take time before you go into the classroom to cut apart those cards. The last lesson talks about supply and demand, and you really get to talk to the students about if supply is up or demand is up, what is that going to do to a product or service? The biggest thing with this lesson is the price arrow is not included. And this is because we really want the students to get up and move as much as possible. The more they're moving, the more they're going to be engaged with you. So when you're going through this activity, have the students stand or sit, depending on their answer, or maybe go to one side of the room or the other. Again, we want them to get up and move. We want them to be engaged. At the end of session 5, please make sure you're leaving time for graduation. Certificates of achievement have been provided to you in the very back of your materials. So make sure you get that class roster from the teacher ahead of time or have them fill it out so you can have a little graduation ceremony. Teach them about receiving a certificate, what a good handshake looks like. But the one thing is please make sure if you're going to bring treats, for this event that you have it approved by your teacher ahead of time because every classroom has a different policy and every school has a different policy just based on the students' needs and dietary restrictions, etc. So we want to make sure that we are respecting that. That will take you through all 5 lessons of the JAR Region program. Again, thank you so much for volunteering. We are so grateful for you making an impact across South Dakota and in your community. We could not do it without you. If you have any questions at all about this program or JA in general, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.